It was a consequential week for two key Trump administration immigration policies. On Tuesday, a federal judge said the DACA program would shield some young people from deportation must stay in place and accept new applicants. He called the administration's decision to rescind DACA arbitrary and capricious because the department failed adequately to explain its conclusion that the program was unlawful.
And on Wednesday, the Supreme Court heard arguments in the travel ban case that restricts immigration from 8 countries, 6 of which have majority Muslim populations. Here to discuss these cases is Theresa Cardinal Brown. She's Director of Immigration and Cross-Border Policy at the Bipartisan Policy Center. Theresa, good morning. Thanks for being here.
Glad to be here.
The DACA ruling and travel ban hearing come just a week after a federal judge ruled against the Department of Justice in a case in Chicago about sanctuary cities.
Yeah.
We'll get to all the specifics here, but are you seeing a pattern developing here?
Well, so clearly there's been a pattern of litigation against the policies of this president since the beginning. The travel ban that he announced shortly after his inauguration was the subject of immediate litigation that weekend. As people remember, there were protests and chaos. The travel ban case the Supreme Court heard this week is sort of the culmination of all of that. We're on the 3rd iteration of the travel ban. And what you're seeing is a set of policies that the president promised on the campaign trail. He got elected. He's trying to carry out. But in sort of rushing to do so, it doesn't always go through what most people would say would be the proper procedure. And so, for example, the DACA case, the judge basically said, you didn't do your homework. You didn't figure out the appropriate legal way to end this program, whether or not that's right or wrong, but you didn't do it properly. You can't just rush into things. And so you're seeing the administration sort of slowly catch up with the policies that the president wants to do.
So the judge's issue there was procedural?
Yes, yeah, it was very much procedural.
So what does this say to the dreamers out there?
So the judge did say that unless the administration can come up with a better legal reasoning for why it's ending the program, it has to reopen the program. So for the dreamers out there, it's wait a minute. There's 90 days for the government to come back and say, give us a better legal rationale. But if they can't, then the judge will order the complete program to be restarted. And that means that people who were not eligible to apply before, maybe because they were too young, can now apply. But there's 90 days, so nobody should rush out and file just yet.
Got it.
Let's talk about this Chicago case. What exactly happened there? And you think this may be even more significant? Well,
the Chicago case is one of several cases that have been filed now about sanctuary cities. A couple months ago, people remember the government sued the state of California over its sanctuary policies. The Chicago case, the city of Chicago sued the Department of Justice because they were trying to take away federal funding for their police officers based on whether or not the city was cooperating on immigration. And they basically said, look, these grants are set in statute. Congress has said the reasons that you can or cannot give a city, and immigration isn't on that list. You can't just arbitrarily pick other things that you want us to do. And the judge agreed in very strenuous terms that Department of Justice can't make this stuff up.
So what does this travel ban essentially do? I mean, when you think about it, what effect has it had?
So the travel ban now has been mostly in place after a preliminary ruling from the Supreme Court last fall. And what this newest ruling is basically about, was it done properly? Does the government have the authority? But what we've seen as a response to this iterations of the travel ban is actually fewer people coming to the United States, especially from predominantly Muslim countries. We've seen declines in foreign students. We've seen declines in visitors. And, you know, a lot of people are thinking that basically the United States may have pulled back the welcome mat.
All right. Theresa Cardinal Brown, thanks for being here this morning. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.